Just the other day, we saw the release of the first teaser trailer for the upcoming Pixar film, Hoppers, which is set to release on the 6th of March 2026. Now let's not beat around the bush and waste too much time. I'll give my general thoughts on everything going on with Hoppers and Pixar afterwards, but first, let's just get stuck into this teaser trailer. Of course, at first we have a little blurb to just introduce the film, which reads, "After a group of scientists invent a way for human brains to inhabit mechanical bodies, Mabel Tanaka uses their technology to embody a realistic robot beaver and thwart a construction company's plot to destroy the local animal habitat." Luckily, we actually got this blurb, because otherwise, apart from the whole robotic animal thing, we don't get any mention of any environmental protection storyline in this teaser. And that's apparently going to dominate the movie's plot. This teaser seems more about setting the tone of the movie, and I actually really like that. Okay, so the trailer begins following our lead Mabel as she arrives at the gates of Beaverton University, which is honestly a little bit on the nose, but whatever. She seems to be following a car, probably one of the women in the lab later on. I'm guessing that one of them, probably the one that does all the talking, is going to be her grandma or something. Or is it just going to be one of those instances where this young person is inexplicably close with some random, non-related adult to the point of following them to their place of work in the dead of night? She gets inside the facility and then they just completely explain everything that's going on. Their department's developed the technology to create robotic animal bodies that are indistinguishable from animals that you can then hop into and control with your own consciousness, whilst your human body is safe back in the lab. Also, I'm sure that there are people having a cry about the animation style and whatnot, but once again, I do feel that Pixar's just pushing further and further every single time they drop a movie. I couldn't give less of a shit about bean mouths. I mean, look at the hairs on this old lady's head. Look at the accurate and high quality frizz that she's got going on. It's truly insane. Plus, it all looks so bright and fun, especially when you get to the forest/pond segments. That was something I really liked about Elio as well, even if a lot of people are giving that film hate. It was bright and colourful and fun. Anyway, as I said, the characters speak about how it lets you enter the body and mind of a robotic animal and interact with and communicate with others. Yeah, so it's pretty much exactly like the film series Avatar, which even this trailer makes sure to acknowledge in a humorous way. Although, I have to say that beyond that joke, the plot actually does seem to resemble the bare bones plot of Avatar. The character enters into the mind of a creature and meets other creatures and earns their trust, eventually going on to side with the animals over the humans and fighting against the evil corporation that tries to destroy the natural world and exploit the resources and land for their own ends. I doubt she's actually going to end up permanently inhabiting the mind of a beaver and living her life as a robot animal and getting married and having kids. She's not going to go full Jake Sully, but I do think there are more than just surface level comparisons to be made. It very clearly started as a, what if we crossed Avatar with Over the Hedge type of pitch. I'm not saying that's a bad concept by any means, but it does make me laugh. Obviously, then some drama happens as the next scene shows that Mabel's pinched the beaver and the ladies are emerging from the rubble of fallen shelves and other chaos to find Mabel plugging into the hopper. So obviously, she wants to go in, they don't want her to go in, they try to get it back off her, chaos ensues, and then she enters. I guess they then decide that since she successfully entered the hopper, they might as well make use of that, because wasn't it nighttime at the start of the trailer, and then when she hops, she wakes up as a beaver, and it's suddenly the day, and she's in the middle of the woods. They would have had to deposit her robotic body there, and they could have just disconnected her if they wanted to. We then have some fun hype-building sequences to showcase the bright and colourful animation, and just give a little bit of humour as well. I really enjoyed how that flock of birds was portrayed, and then the gossiping pair of deer talking about how the two other animals had been found in the same den as one another. Whew, scandalous. And then Pixar's back to flexing the animation quality on us once more. I mean, just look at the water in this shot with the cute little ducks. Or then again with the beavers diving in and building the dam together. It's just so incredible seeing how far things have come. I mean, think back to Finding Nemo and how revolutionary that felt. Or even just Finding Dory a decade ago. Pixar always delivers on that front for me, always pushing forward the advancements. We then get a look at how Mabel's going to have some difficulties fitting in with the animal kingdom. She comes up to a pond in which there's a random beaver just sitting on the rock, and she tries to engage with him, but honestly he's just kind of out of it. And then a bear bursts out of the bushes and charges and grabs him, ready to make a meal, before Mabel leaps into action and beats the bear up, probably helped by the fact that she is a robot. The bear drops him, starts to sulk and asks why she intervened, with the beaver asking her the same question, since it's pond rules. She has to eat somebody, and since she caught him, it means he's fair game. In fact, he seems more than willing to be eaten afterwards because he thinks fair's fair, and he offers himself to the bear who refuses it because now it's weird. She even faces away with his massive pout like a scolded kid. I didn't expect this coming into it, but the characterization for all the animals so far has been really funny. Also, I know I keep saying it, but my god, the quality of the animation on display here. The reflections of the canopy, the sparkle of the light in the pond water, the fur of the bears and the beavers, and how you can see the clear difference between the waterlogged fur and the more dry fur. Just incredible in every respect. Then the trailer finishes up with Mission Control telling Mabel that she can't interfere with the natural order of things, and she turns off the live feed. When the feed goes dark, you can see that Mabel is with the bear, and she's looking at the King Beaver. I'm guessing this is going to be her learning that the construction company is planning to destroy the dam and clear some of the forest, and she's teaming up with the animals to try to stop that happening, whilst the scientists believe that you just gotta let nature take its course. Either that, or it's going to be something like she's challenging for control of the dam and becoming the new ruler to try to help save them. For now though, that's all we really have for Hoppers in terms of the clips, but I've come away from this trailer feeling very good about Pixar's upcoming slate for next year, which is very refreshing for me, because to be honest, I wasn't expecting much from this film to begin with. Not that I was thinking it was going to be bad, as I do think the hate for Pixar in the last couple of years, i.e. the quality of their storytelling and their filmmaking and their animation, has been way overblown by people who refuse to take off the nostalgia goggles. It was more that I was just expecting they wouldn't have that much commercial success with the movie. I mean, you just have to take a look at the industry trends, especially for the likes of Disney and Pixar, to see that everyone is overly hesitant when it comes to the big franchise players, and don't seem to want to go to see original content. The stuff that's always blowing up and getting the big box office numbers are the known quantities, sequels and franchises. That's why we're getting more sequels in the latter half of this decade from Pixar, a hell of a lot of them. Original content for the most part is still languishing, and we only have to take a look at Elio, which only just crossed 100 million at the box office after a month, with a budget of upwards of 200 million, to see that fact. I know people have a bunch of conspiracy theories as to why the film didn't do well, and especially that Disney doesn't promote Pixar properly, rah rah rah. I didn't see any ads for it at all. I had no idea it was coming out, and I'm a huge Pixar fan. Okay. 1, you have an ad blocker, and you clearly don't go outside often if you saw no ads at all. And 2, how can you claim to be a massive Pixar fan and not know a film's coming out? I'm not trying to gatekeep about what being a true fan is or anything, but these commenters are always talking such a big game about how much they love the studio and they ravenously consume it and comment on the subreddit, and yet, if you're in the fandom to that extent, you have to have known the movie was coming, you clown. Regardless, I think I just filed Hoppers away to be another Pixar film that would likely crash and burn whether it's good or not. Having seen the trailer now, I actually think this is a movie that's going to do very well and get people to come and see it. Already I can feel people saying, only if they promote it properly. Enough with that weird conspiracy theory that Disney wants Pixar to fail. What would they gain? It's not like they're a shadow investor. They completely own it. Completely. It's a subsidiary of Walt Disney Studios that Bob Iger decided Disney needed to boost their profile since it was so popular, because they needed an actual profitable animation studio whilst Disney had been languishing and losing money for years at that point. If they lose money on Pixar, they're going to lose money in general. All Disney cares about anymore is the bottom line, so I don't think it's been a long-term goal to gradually destroy a moneymaker like Pixar over the 20 years since they acquired it, and anybody who unironically thinks that has got to be pretty stupid. But yes, Hoppers. I actually think it's potentially going to do very well. For starters, the teaser is very fun, but it's also an animal film. If there's one thing you can rely on to get families to come and see your movie in droves, it is cute animals in zany adventures, and that's what this movie seems to promise. Plus, it has pretty decent views on the trailer on YouTube, about 4 million views in 24 hours. Not too shabby, but obviously not pulling Stranger Things Season 5 numbers either, which well and truly blew up and overshadowed Pixar dropping this trailer in every possible way. However, I do think the early signs are there that the film's going to be good, that it's a tried and true marketable premise, and it could make a bit of a splash at the box office. Plus, it doesn't really have all that much competition from what I can see, although The Cat in the Hat's going to come out the week before, and that trailer recently just got like 19 million views overall, which is a great deal more than the Hoppers trailer is likely to get. I know that in the end, trailer numbers really do mean very little overall, but I think there's a good chance that that movie does very well for its opening weekend, and could provide strong competition for Hoppers for the majority of its run, at least until April when Super Mario Bros. 2 is meant to release. Considering Super Mario did so well in its first run, I'm kind of expecting the sequel to do monster numbers too, and gobble up that family demographic completely. Although, by then both films will have been out for a month or so. I'm not sure it matters all that much in the grand scheme of things. Thus, I do think this film is going to be rather successful, and hopefully the most successful Pixar original in quite a while. What did Elemental gross again? Almost $500 million. I think it made a very modest profit in the end. The last Pixar original to post big numbers at the box office seems to have been Coco, and that was almost 10 years ago. Since then, it's either been very successful sequel films, or straight to Disney Plus, or box office flops. Elemental is the aberration, but even that only did okay. Here they have a chance to correct course somewhat and start to plant the seeds for future franchises that they can then churn out more sequels for in the future. Otherwise, eventually they are going to run out of successful ideas that they can keep coming back for to milk for the money. On top of that, I think it's just going to be good. From this trailer, the animation and design seem to be very well done, and the voice acting and writing is as well. Obviously, in terms of the narrative, we have to wait and see, because a teaser barely gives you anything to work with in that regard. But the film has been written and directed by Daniel Chong, who is the guy that made We Bare Bears, which I think is a really funny and cute show. So I'm hoping that type of humor is going to translate into this format well. Judging by what we've seen in the teaser, it is. But then again, we'll have to wait and see for now. Hopefully we get another longer trailer soonish, and we can go from there. Until then though, these have all been my opinions, and now I'd like to hear yours. What did you think of the Hoppers teaser? Has it gotten you excited for the movie? Maybe not? I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know.